Well, I think it's already here. Like, I don't think that's the future. I think the fact that the world is so fast-paced, the fact that there is so much happening, that we have to be dynamic. We can't be static like we've previously done before. One of the interesting stats that we've talked about quite a lot is the fact that the events industry, as an example, is going to double in size by 2032. So you can understand the impact that real-time events, real-time behaviours that guests are actually having to go to these events is having on hotels, which means that they can't be static, they have to be dynamic and real-time decision making. So that's only going to get enabled by tech. So the question is more, I think, how do we stay ahead and how do we continue to innovate to make sure that we can keep up with that pace of change? Yeah, it's a really important point because it's not just about making life easier for the hotels, although I would argue if you're streamlining operations in a hotel, ultimately the guest will benefit because there's more time to spend with guests, more time to focus on the guest experience. So really, as a hotelier, I would be looking for a solution that they're always willing to innovate, up to date, very customer-centric obviously, but also thinking about the future and what we can do to make sure we are always thinking about that guest experience first and foremost, whilst making sure we're simplifying and reducing friction for hotels. Yeah, it's a great question because I've seen some awesome solutions, and in the world of AI there's so much happening and it's moving at a really fast pace. But again, I think one of the key things I would be looking for is really thinking about is that solution one that is open, is thinking about the seamless way that connectivity can happen, because in a world, not every hotel is the same. Some solutions are happy with an all-in-one to simplify that, whereas some of the more sophisticated hotels will need something that not one solution can offer. So making sure that there's something that is flexible, open, and that has that seamless connectivity to give you that flexibility, I think is really key. Yeah, so I think it is interesting. The world where you used to book a room and it was purely about just going and putting your head down and having that room to sleep in, long gone. And I think as a hotelier, you need to be thinking about other ways that you can maximise revenue. And really it is about the guest experience, because the guest is looking for more. In a world where, and I believe the stats, if I get them right, we've seen that even guests coming to hotels and staying sort of for the bleisure time, so a bit of business, a bit of pleasure, is up to 41%. And that's a massive statistic that's come up by 5% only over the last 2 years. So we're seeing this shift, and that means that the hotels need to adapt. And it means maybe they need to think about that pre-stay experience, maybe getting a guest from an airport to a hotel, thinking about other ancillary, Wi-Fi, other business maybe type functionality that they could offer in-house. So again, it's thinking more holistically about that end-to-end experience and thinking about how they can tap into that as a revenue stream. Something I'm really passionate about, actually. Again, our world is powered by data, and that's a phenomenal thing. And if you harness it, you've got a real opportunity to use that data to really understand who the right guests are for the right hotel. And we've all been in a situation where we've gone to a hotel, we're there for business, and actually you've got kids playing in the pool, which is quite distracting while you're on a meeting. So getting that fit right is really important. So if you can do that through data, you can also think about a personalised experience. You can think about how you can make sure you're recommending the right type of room. You can understand as well if that guest has been a repeat guest, and therefore they've got a favourite type of room or a favourite type of pillow that you might want to add to that room. So all of this can become enabled by tech because of the data and through algorithms and through machine learning and AI that's now available to really enhance that experience, which is a pretty exciting place to play, I think. Yeah, I touched on this earlier, and I don't think it's one or the other. I actually think it depends on the needs of the property. We definitely see that there are some instances where you've got a very small property, 2 to 10, very small, owner-operator. They just want one system. They don't want the hassle of being billed by multiple systems. They need a super simple user interface. So that would be a situation where an all-in-one would definitely tick the box. However, go up to a larger independent or groups and chains, that's a very different situation. And actually to find an all-in-one solution, it might mean it's too rigid and it doesn't offer the flexibility or the sophistication that they need, that they might need to actually adapt to different systems, plug in to different solutions, and really cater for a different market or a different type of guest as well. So it's neither one nor the other. I think it's about the type of property and their needs. Look, I do think, and I know AI is the buzzword, of course, but like we've just released a new Dynamic Revenue Plus solution that is powered by AI and really thinking about taking all of the data we have in our platform to provide recommendations of the next best action for hotels so that they can actually be able to optimize their revenue, but by taking all of those data points and stitching them together in a way that you can't do manually. You can't do that in a human way. So we're really excited about this solution because we think it brings together that intelligence, distribution, revenue optimization, and most importantly gives people the ability to execute and deliver their strategies in one platform, in one place, which is something I think is going to be a game changer, and honestly how the world can change and how we can bring even more data sets in, and of course how AI is rapidly changing, I think is going to see us really evolve that solution over time.